What's that?
That's pretty cool. Fun place to work.
Yeah, I've spent more money on that. Yeah, I'm a safety guy.
See if that's on. Wait. Austin.
I'd like.
See the little. Oh, it's in there. It's in my computer.
Oh, that's right. You're.
I got a job at here now, right after the summer.
We have. There's something.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
But they said I could. I kind of do it for vacation and then I got.
Well,
They gave.
Those people here for the first time, welcome to Pointe. My name is Theron. And I'm over operations, so I'll be working with you guys if you're new. For like getting all the logistics done, housing and getting your software system set up and all things like that. So I'm sure you'll be hearing more from me, but this is our second sales training. We did one last 2 weeks ago. And we will be continuing to do these all the way up until the summer to get everybody ready. And we also encourage you to be training with your teams and your managers, but we had a great opportunity tonight to learn from some of our VPs of sales, some of the guys that have done this better than anybody ever. So great opportunity. New clicker.
It's a down button.
Down,
Yeah.
down, not up.
Randy Garn's still
Or
around.
press
Up seems like the right.
Or press the square. I think the square works too.
Yeah. All right, we got some upcoming dates for you. This Saturday, those of you that are managers and team leads, doing our leadership training right here, 9 a.m. And then next Wednesday, a week from tonight, is our next personal development training. So we did our first one last week. Randy Garn, he came and spoke to us, and it was very, very, very amazing, very influential, powerful speech that he gave. Corbin Church is our next one. Corbin is closely associated with Pointe. A lot of his kids and relatives have sold for Pointe and been some of our top sales reps. And Corbin is going to come speak to us about networking. You want to tell us a little bit about what he's going to say?
Yeah, it's gonna be, so Corbin has been a huge mentor for me. He teaches at BYU. Some of you guys have had his class, but he teaches on entrepreneurship at BYU. I think he teaches there for free just because he has killed it and wants to give back and impact young people. But I don't know what his net worth number is, but it's very high. Like he's probably one of the wealthiest guys in Utah County. And he's like, he'll light up a room. He's just, his energy is amazing. Real estate and entrepreneurship is his game. He's mastered both of them and is a really fun person to be around. So bring your friends and it should be a really awesome night.
One of the biggest factors in becoming successful is surrounding yourself with successful people and listening to what they have to say. And so we're giving you an opportunity to do that for free in our monthly personal development training. So come down and check it out. It's really worth your while.
Invite a lot of people. Let's fill this place up.
Yeah, fill it up in here. It's open to the public. It's open to the public, so you don't have to be a signed rep or even a recruit to come attend those. Bring your family members, bring your friends who.
Yeah, he teaches
all
a
ages.
class of like 500 students at BYU and people pay to go to school there. Like,
Yeah,
come.
the messages
hear about it.
are valuable. And then we're gonna do a fun company activity. 2 Saturdays from now, the 11th, we're gonna do the 9:30 show at Comedy Sports. So Pointe's gonna get us tickets, yeah, and
It's fun, go, for sure.
and
There's an crack some jokes.
I'll be performing in that show. I've been doing improv for 23 years, so
You'll want to see that.
younger, more exciting people there too, but I will also be there.
We're gonna get some costumes on there and
I'll do some, all the stuff. I got a couple characters I'll pull out. Next sales training like this is the 15th, so mark your calendars, Wednesday the 15th. And then we have a big company activity on the 22nd. We've done this 3 years in a row where we rent out the Pickleball USA place over here by Walmart. And we'll bring some food and everyone can just hang out, bring recruits, bring friends, and we'll play pickleball for a couple hours together.
We'll have advanced, intermediate, and beginner courts.
And then my division, which is just stay where the food is.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we should pull out, maybe we.
Oh, yeah, we're
maybe we
going
should,
out.
like, get a bracket.
Yeah, we're doing brackets.
Yeah, so someone can present to me some way to track an overall winner. I will get, I will.
Make a bracket, Zach will make it. Last year was pretty informal, so we can.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on out there on the courts. I honestly don't ever going.
What time of day?
7 o'clock, Tommy Sports is 9:30. Obviously, I'll be sending this stuff out in all of our channels. Oh, before I go on from that, so the personal development, Randy Garn came last week. If anybody who was here and heard Randy, will you do me a favor and just put your name on that card? It's on the table back there before you leave. You just want to send a thank you card, so I want to get your names of the people that were here. All right, few announcements as we kind of get closer to the summer. We have a job opportunity during the summer that's not sales, it's teching. So if you have a friend that's like, oh, I would totally go out and live with you for the summer and work, but I'm deathly afraid to sell something and make lots of money, then they can be a tech. And techs make good money too, but not as good as you. So send them our way. Also, if you have a friend that's teching on your team, it will increase your sales because you'll have a better experience with your fulfillment on your job. So
Also, just the opportunity on that, just so you know how to like intro it, and then if you have someone that's interested, then pass them over to myself or to Austin. But I think I've already shared this, but earning opportunity for a tech is usually going to be like 15 to 20 grand in the summer, which usually is like 2x what they'll make at home, and so it's a pretty good earning opportunity.
Free rent.
And
it's definitely better than like
and it's free rent, so we give them, they obviously get a company vehicle, we pay for their gas, and then we pay for their rent, so it's like you're pocketing like 15, 20 grand in the summer, and then you get to hang out with a bunch of young people and go see a new place, and so it's usually a pretty good gig. And then it's there's some people where sales just is not the right fit, like interacting with people and kind of the mental component of sales, and so it can be a really good opportunity for people. So definitely network. Our branches are responsible for hiring, but if we can bring our own techs, young kids that are doing that are used to, like, they're comfortable with working long days and working till like 9 p.m. at night. If our branches are hiring local guys, a lot of them are, they have a family at home, and working past 5, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock is a stretch for 100 days in a row. And so
they won't service as many accounts.
yeah, like there's a big advantage to having your own tech. So we'll have, on the pest control side this summer, probably 150 to 175 reps on the doors, and we have demand for technicians, and so pass the word along.
And I'll say this, a lot of the guys that tech for us the first year, they end up selling the next year because they see it firsthand. So when we say some people aren't cut out for sale, that I do believe that everyone can sell. Everyone can do this and be successful at it, but some people aren't ready mentally for that step, right? And so going out as a tech helps them see that their friends are doing it. Like, I can do this. Cam Cheney, our top rookie last year, was a tech the year before, and he was like, why am I not doing this? So think about that. Slack. Okay. So everybody should be on Slack. And so I'm gonna do a little test right here. I'm gonna send a message on Slack. And if you have Slack set up correctly, you will get a notification on your phone. If you don't get a message,
I'll turn on my notifications for you.
Yeah, Balin.
so if you did not get a message just now that popped up on your phone, just like a text, so you need to change the way your notifications set up on Slack, because I'm sending messages all day, every day through Slack about really important things that I need you guys to respond to. And the people that don't respond, they get like the bad apartments because they don't get their housing forms in on
They're put in
time.
the dungeons.
And then they get
They get the bad furniture,
worse stuff.
the bad uniform.
The worst part is that they get on my bad side. And I don't know who pays you something.
then they don't get paid.
Yeah, all sorts of bad things happen on Slack. Get on Slack. If you don't have a badge photo yet, if you have signed with us, you need a badge photo, and we can do those for you tonight if you don't already have one done. And you know if you have one or not, because I took your picture already. If not, come see me, and make sure you follow us on Instagram @point_pros. And then, yeah, I already talked about how important, but if I send you a sign now document in your email, it's because I need you to do it quickly, so it should do it. It should sign. And that's all for me. Now you guys get the good guys.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Darren.
Yeah.
We don't know where we'd be without Darren, who took some float, so, cool, how many of you weren't here last week? I mean, sorry, 2 weeks ago, and last week too. If you weren't here 2 weeks ago or last week, get with your manager or someone to teach you what we did last time. We're gonna do a quick review, and then we're gonna dive into, the meat of the beginning of the sale, right? And I wanna, get you all ready, because you all are gonna practice this tonight. You're all gonna get up, not in front of the group unless you want to, we might do that. But we're gonna split up into groups at the end of this and practice what we taught tonight. So, get ready for that. So last time we talked about a few things. Who remembers this, the chunks of this pie? Of communication filter. This would be kind of like a pop quiz.
The big chunk is nonverbal. The
Yep.
medium-sized chunk is metaverbal, and the smallest one is verbal.
Nailed it. So nonverbal, what is nonverbal?
Body language.
Body language. So when you're communicating with somebody, like right now, me communicating to each of you, subliminally, you're looking at me and taking in my body language. And like I'm portraying to you subliminally if I'm confident or unconfident, hoping I'm portraying confidence, but. When you're on the doors, that's what people notice without even recognizing, is what you're doing with your body. So how you're standing, where you're how far away you're standing, how much you're moving your hands, how much you're moving your body, how much you're moving your face or scrunching your face. There's a bunch of different things. So we want you just to be aware of that right now. If you're learning, this is your first time hearing about this or learning about sales, that the more you're aware of what you're doing with your body and how you're using it as a way to communicate confidence is going to help your potential sales be more comfortable and confident in you. So we talked about that. What were some examples last time that you guys have practiced or applied, or veterans that you now do every day because you've sold multiple summers or a summer using body language in day-to-day life? What are some examples of influencing people around you for good? Head nodding. Head nodding, yeah. So, Tanner?
Whenever I knock on a door, I make sure to leave some space between the door. I actually saw the missionaries knocking on doors today, and I was like, they were like sitting right in front of the
Did you pull
door.
over and
I was so close to pulling over and being like, guys, you're doing this wrong.
you're standing way too close?
Way too close.
Cool. What else? Joshua?
Mirror their movements.
Okay, mirroring. So that's when somebody is like crossing their arms, you cross their arms. A very common one this summer is leaning against the house, you lean against the house with them. So there are things you can do now, like try head nodding with your roommates and your friends and see how. That's when you can tell they like you, or they're like into what you're saying. If you want to go see a movie and you head nod, they're like, oh, that's these are the films. So what are some examples of metaverbal that you can do every day, and especially on the doors, that can influence people to be more calm? Down pitch. Yep, so expound on that. Garrett said down pitch.
So instead of forming it like a question, we up pitch at the end, so the voice gets higher, you get lower.
Yep. So that's a very common mistake that we make in sales, is up pitching. And so when you have the telemarketer call you, if they, anyways, I don't know, but if they are talking very fast, they up pitch like, hi, I'm with AT&T, I want to call you today, you know, so we don't do that. That's going to portray lack of confidence because you're questioning everything you're saying subliminally to the person. Some other ways are talking too fast, talking too quiet or too loud. That's metaverbal. That's how you're saying the phrases. So now you can practice talking slower. Just try it, and you'll have people responding to you better, especially when you're asking a girl on a date. Right? Some of you probably practice that. I told you to do that. So I hope it went well. Right, Zach?
Yeah.
So it's verbal. The last one is verbal. This is the actual words you say. So the good news for all of you is right now you don't know what to say, a lot of you, but that's okay, because usually that's the smallest thing that someone's taking in. However, it's still important. You don't want to say the wrong things or not know what to say at all. So tonight we're gonna dive into like a pretty basic bare bones pitch for you guys to start learning and memorizing. So any questions or thoughts with these, or any ways that veterans you've seen understanding this and applying it help you get more sales?
Just to plug that, like, a lot of us are using the same words. And I get asked all the time, like, how does someone sell, 650 accounts in a summer? And where are they working? Like, are they working the same neighborhoods as everyone else? And I mean, the answer is like this, like, it's all of this, and it is like that little bit of verbal, but like, a lot of it really is the little things that they do to help a customer feel comfortable and to look to look confident. And people buy from people that they like and trust. And if you do a lot of these things right, you will help someone feel comfortable with you and like you within like seconds and minutes. So this is the answer to making a lot of money if you can master a lot of this stuff.
100%. So as we're practicing, you're going to be focusing on the words and memorizing, but we're going to give you tips and critiques and positive reinforcement of doing these better throughout the weeks as we keep practicing. So, all right, next pop quiz. Who remembers the 5 steps of the sales cycle that we did the bird's eye view last week? What's the first one? Someone hasn't sold before. Initial approach. So that's the first 4 to 5 seconds of the sale, which we're going to dive into here in a second. What's the next part? Side response, which is a fancy way of engaging the customer, getting them to respond back. You're passing it to them to answer back. What's the next one? Oh. Yep, overcome objections. So Parker said something, if you want to make a lot of money, understand the communication filters, but if you want to make even more money, be okay with objections and people telling you no. That's gonna happen. So the more comfortable you are and ready for people's concerns, the better you'll do. Well, the next one is present. So this is when you're in the yard with them, you're gonna talk about need, value, and urgency. What's the last one? Let's hear it a little louder. What are we always doing? Close. So if you forget to close on all this, you will not sell. Just remember that, put that in the bank. If you're not closing, you will not sell. It's that. So this is the most, it's the foundation. If you close, you're probably going to draw out another objection and you go around where you're going to dollar signs, making money. So, yeah, this is an amazing way to sell and to influence people, sell people on ideas and concepts and help people out. So let's dive into it. So tonight, the objectives are learn and practice. So starting now, these trainings there's going to be practicing every single time you come here. But if this is the only place you're practicing, I just want a little plug. So the only time you're practicing is Wednesday night at 8. Like, that's not enough. So make sure you're getting with your managers and practicing. But tonight, you're going to talk about the pre-impression, the initial approach, exciting response, recognition of buying signs, and learn to overcome initial objection or objections. So the initial approach. First step in the sales cycle. The very first thing is the pre-impression. So this is Mason Bryant. He was our top rookie last year. He broke the record that had been standing for since 2015. So long time. And you can tell that he takes it serious the way he's dressed. He looks like someone who'd come and treat the house. He actually has, on purpose for his pre-impression, he has a Boy Scout thing. That helped him feel swaggy. You heard the story of like people getting jobs who had a Boy Scout belt on, and he took it to another level, and it made him a lot of money. So he has different things on. So he cares about how he looks. So he wants to read this. He wants to read this first paragraph. Tanner, read aloud.
Remember, you are attempting to persuade perfect strangers to give you their hard-earned money within minutes of meeting you for the first time. Your appearance is the first indicator that you can be trusted.
Yeah, and you all don't need to wear Boy Scout pins if you, I mean, it worked for him, so try it if you want, but your goal is to build trust and people, like Parker just said, buy from people they like and trust. And so, we talked about this a little bit, I just want to hit it again. If some of you have extreme styles of hair and clothing and other things, and like, we're probably, you'll hear from us, not in a nice way, that we want to help you win. So this is generally how we dress and look out there selling. So, we have the uniform the way we do to help with your appearance come across that people can trust you. Body position, so that's, blanking now, nonverbal, right? Avoid confrontation, style, and positioning. And then, like Joshua said, mirroring and echoing, so relate with the customer using your body and tone of voice. So this is a reminder that when you're coming up to the doors, or coming up to the door each day, caring about how you're standing, what you're saying, and how you're looking. Any questions with that, or any experiences where you maybe got a new pair of shoes or new pair of pants or something because you had a crazy style or something, Tanner?
Not with that particularly. I had a girl that was on her team that was really struggling to sell, and we didn't know why. She looked good in the meetings and everything. I went out and knocked with her, and she left her shirt untouched, and it just looked really sloppy. And I was like, bro, like, you just figured it out right there. And it's just sister. Yeah, like, I guess, yeah. Like, just clean yourself up, tuck in your shirt, like, make yourself presentable.
Yeah.
And she did, and she started selling. It's like a miracle.
So I have to add to that, a friend who sold, now he's actually selling for our program, solar program. But he came with like really skinny black jeans on and like bright red, like, and yellow shoes. Like he looked like black shoes. And so I had to nicely tell him like, hey, let's change that a little bit. This is some tips I have, and he did. And now he sold for multiple years really high. He was our top rookie that year. So because I changed his shoes and pants, he started selling more.
Do you mind explaining echoing?
Yeah, echoing is an example of that. It is when you meet an old lady, you're not going to talk super loud and aggressive about you're going to echo her. So, hi, honey, like, hi, ma'am, how you doing? Like, or if bodybuilder Joe comes to the door with his sunglasses on inside the middle of the day, like, come on. You're not going to be like, sir, how are you? Hey, I'm working here. Has anyone told you what's going on? You're going to hold your ground, So, working here. Back in the day, when we worked in Philly, I would actually like talk to them back in their accent. Some of you are going to sell in the South, and you'll start talking their accent. Tanner Jones' accent's going to get crazy because he's from Arkansas. He's going to be selling in Kentucky, so
Oh, yeah, that's gonna
it's
be
going to get
wild.
wild.
Mic that guy up.
Any other questions?
Mic him
Cool.
up.
Let's move. Let's keep rolling. So the initial approach. And we're gonna demo it, but we're not gonna practice yet. We're gonna all practice at the end so everybody can get a chance to have more time to practice. So this is a very common initial. Hey, we just finished up work at Glenn's, or a neighbor that is our customer. We don't make up names, never. But you're gonna have an app, and most of the markets we go to, we're opening some new markets, but most of the markets we go to, you'll have like customers' names on there. Or someone you sold is a prime name to drop like that. That's the best way I think. But if you don't have a name, we name drop like streets or like rivers nearby or neighborhoods, developments. And so, but for tonight, as you hear us practicing, we're gonna make up a name for tonight, but never do that. So, hey, we just finished up work at Glenn's, so it's a simple name drop. And we do this intentionally. A lot of companies are like, hi, my name's Austin with Pointe Pest Control or whatever pest control company you're selling for. And I have hundreds of customers, and we're taking care of the bugs and the spiders, and we're here to help you because we're going to do this and this and that. We're going to do this. And like the customer's just standing there like, and a lot of times you like hear stories like that person was one of their customers because they never engaged with them. So we ask an engaging question right away. Has anyone been by to let you know what's going on? That's a very common question to use. So this is 4 seconds. The whole purpose of this is to buy you time and get them interested and get them on the hook to listen to the next part. So, yeah, I'll show you this real quick. And just the first 4 seconds. Parker, do you want to be my customer?
Yeah.
Wanted to give you this. Go ahead and give it to you in a second. Knock, knock, knock.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. How are you doing?
Good.
Awesome. We just finished work over at Glenn's. Has anyone been by to let you know what's going on?
No, what's going on? Job.
This is it's my cousin Dallin. He set the rookie record that lasted for a long time. And you can notice his movements are big and he moves really slow. And mine was slow. My speed was slow. And how far back he's standing. So that's how you'll practice tonight too. But yeah, that's the initial approach. And I'll pass it to Parker to keep going with inciting response. Just press it down.
Cool, so yeah, that's the first step of the sale, so that's gonna be like Austin said, like the first, maybe like 4 or 5 seconds. And if that's done right, usually your customer is now going to be engaged, and usually if he asks that question, you know, has anyone been by to let you know what's going on? Usually the customer is now going to say, no, what's going on? So what's awesome is it kind of like literally you'll have some times where they're like, no, like, should I know what's going on? And the door like opens and their ears are kind of perked. And that's the whole goal, is you're trying to pitch this next part to like an open ear, if that makes sense. Because if you just got right into it without opening their ear, then they're not going to be totally listening. So this part we call inciting a response. So let me introduce that. Who can tell me about Black Friday and why Black Friday is so significant? Like what makes Black Friday so fun, awesome? Why do people go crazy on Black Friday? Ethan?
The limited time deal.
Okay, so limited time. So there's 3 like pieces to it that I'm looking for. That's one of them. It only happens, how often does Black Friday happen? Once a year. Once a year. What other things make Black Friday Black Friday? Discounts. That's number 2. Yep.
Trendy.
The other is that's honestly a really good answer. The third is like limited supply. Like every store only has X amount of inventory, and then they run out, and then Black Friday's over, you know. So what you're trying to create with this next part is that exact same feeling in your customers that is created in us on Black Friday. So there's 3 pieces to this. This is like the meat of your pitch, and you want to get this part out on as many doors as you possibly can in the summer. So the whole goal with that initial approach that Austin was teaching is to like buy yourself some time to be able to get this part out, because this is like the hook, like this is like the exciting part where they again hear about the discount, right? So the wording here is perfect. My trucks are in the area. If we can fit you in, we can treat your home for about half off. Okay, so my trucks are in the area, limited time. Like my trucks are in the area. You can add today and tomorrow if you want to really like spell out the limited time thing. So my trucks are in the area today and tomorrow. If we can fit you in, so we have limited time, limited slots. Like I only have X amount of time slots, which is true.
When you have a team of 20, 30 people and you have 5 to 10 technicians, those
Yeah, your slots, you'll have an app on your phone, and every 20 minutes you'll look down, every like 5 minutes you'll look down, and the person next to you in the neighborhood next to you just sold one and picked up one of those slots. And so those slots are constantly being filled up. And so you're truthfully like, I have a couple slots left. If I can fit you in, I can service your home for about half off.
Back in the day, Parker used to get mad at me when I take off.
I would hate it.
I hate
Yeah.
him too.
I'm like, I have 1 slot left tonight. And I'm like, just kidding. I have a couple left tomorrow. Andrew?
So when I had the other day, you
Yeah.
gave me a number of the average contract price.
Yeah,
So when we say half off, are we resorting to that number initially?
great question.
Or are we going to actually have that?
Really good question.
The
So
other thing
what
I
we're,
can see- Sorry, the other thing I
Sure.
can see is them doubling that in their head, and being like, that's full price.
sure, yeah, really good question. So on the rate sheets, it's gonna show initial price for your first visit, and then it's gonna show the discounted price. And usually like, the initial might cost $300, but you can discount their first one to 150, for example. So what we're discounting is their first visit.
Okay.
So you're not discounting the entire year's contract value. you're discounting the first year's, or the first service, if that makes sense. So, and you're being transparent on that, like, I mean, if a customer asked that question, I would explain it to them literally the exact same way I just did to you. Most of the time, because of how the visual aid will be like spelled out, you won't get that question.
Okay.
Does that help? Okay, that's a great question.
And also when customers call into our offices that for the companies we sell for. Throughout the year, they do pay more than usually what we're charging on the doors, or we're authorized to charge on the doors,
Yeah,
so.
and there's like a business answer to that, like, which I don't totally need to get into, but like, the quick answer is we're doing a lot of volume in really geographically dense areas with all of our door-to-door guys, so the company is willing to discount it because they're getting so much volume in these really close neighborhoods. Anyway, that's just kind of the business answer to why we can sell it for a discount. So trucks are here. If I can fit you in, I can do it for about half off. That's our discount phrase. So there's going to be kind of two bread and butter insider responses that you're going to use. This is going to be the first one. You're going to use this on a lot of doors, and I'm going to show this real quick, and I'll show it with the first part too, so you can kind of see it.
Where's our clip?
Together.
There's actually some behind.
Okay. Okay, knock, knock.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Good. Hey, I'm just starting up work on Johnson Street here with a couple of the homes. Have any of the neighbors told you about what's going on?
No, what's going on?
Okay, so my trucks are here. They're gonna be here the next day or two. And if I can fit your home in, I can service it for about half off.
Okay, here's my credit cards.
Perfect.
That's 600 counts right there, that's. I need you pulled your phone out really fast, you want that, that was great.
Okay, so again, like the big three things, or the big thing here is that you have all three of those components there. You can add a couple things, or I wouldn't subtract much because you want those three components. People often will ask, like, can I say here that I'm doing pest control? The answer is yes. We're not like we're not on purpose like holding our cards close. Usually you have pest control like written on your hat and on your stuff, and so it's kind of just like they know who you are. But yeah, you could add here, my trucks are in the area, I'm doing pest control for a bunch of the neighbors. If I can fit you into our schedule, I can service your home for about half off. So the key is that you just have all three of those pieces of the Black Friday thing included, and then that's a really effective discount initial approach.
I want to add real quick, like if you just memorize this like as simple as possible first and then add to it. That's my
Yes.
tip. If you've sold for a different company, like bring what you've learned and add to it, or if you've sold a different product, or if you've never sold. That would be my tip, is learn it and then add to it. That's like I sold for a different company my first year and then learned this from Dave and Dallin, and Parker worked for different.
Yeah, I like that. I know it looks this looks like it's a couple lines, but you'll get in front of a group of people and start practicing this, and you start to feel, I don't know, this will take some time to get it memorized, so get it nailed exactly how it's spelled out, and then you can kind of start to like feel like yourself and add a little bit if you want to. But did someone have something?
I was just gonna say, like, just from doing sales for a long time.
Yeah.
The other thing that's gonna do to have this first part memorized is that it takes a lot of stress and anxiety off if you don't have to think about what you're gonna say at every door. Like, you know what you're gonna say to start this every time. So you can do that all day long and not wear out, because you don't have to like, okay, what am I gonna say this time? I gotta change this one word. Like, just have it ready and know this.
Yep.
This is the secret key, right? And then be ready to talk to them more when they're like, yeah, how much? Like, be ready for that, but you just got to get through that as many times as you can in a day.
Yep,
Just a-
repetition, and this will, because in the summer you're doing this all day long, you'll get it figured out, but you want to show up the first couple weeks and earn and not be like learning, right? So if your first couple weeks you have this down, then you'll sell some of the, the easier sales that are just like, yeah, we're looking for a bug guy, let's do it. So I wanted to just introduce this, and then there's one more that I want to introduce. So there's going to be kind of two bread and butter insider responses that you're going to use all summer long. It's going to be that one, If you're in an area where it feels like every door has a service already, then you're gonna use this one a lot.
Click it down. This is, put this in there.
And yeah, let's start with that. So situational selling, maybe someone that's sold before. In your words, maybe tell me what that means to you. Situational selling. Yeah, Karen.
I think that would be like adapting to the environment, because like Darren was saying, like you are gonna like say the same thing over and over, but you'll be in different situations where you have to adapt and tweak it just a little bit.
Yep.
And you'll get a lot better responses once you start tweaking it just a little bit.
Yep, you're gonna sell in new neighborhoods, old neighborhoods, somewhere it feels like everyone has someone, somewhere it feels like everyone's like the country guy that does it themselves. Like, you have to learn to adapt, and that's called situational selling. I love that. Heath, did you have something?
Yeah, I was just gonna add, like, I think there's an element that a customer can tell if you're like being robotic.
Yeah,
Like, if you just say the exact same thing and they can tell it's from a script, there's no way that they're gonna buy from you.
totally.
Just because they don't wanna be part of your robotic, like, they don't wanna be part of your sale,
Yeah.
like, they don't wanna be a part of it.
Yeah, because they're not connecting. with you.
Exactly,
Yeah,
yeah, so I think that's what kind of needs to be.
totally. I love that. Anything else?
I would add, I love the quote from Door Millionaire is like, there's the heap of failed salesmen of the past was they had the cardinal sin of just saying the same thing to every single person. It's kind of to add to that, like switching between these two initial, like I almost do it every other door. That's how I do it, just so I'm not saying the same thing at every door.
Yeah, so some back and forth between the other insider response and this one is healthy. So this one is similar, but you're gonna notice that this one kind of preemptively already predicts that they might have a company. So perfect, my trucks are in the area. Who do you guys have coming out for your pest control? So you're still gonna do the first, you're gonna do the initial approach. Hey, I'm just starting up work on the street. I do work for Doug and Bob. Has anyone talked to you guys yet about what we're doing? No? Okay, great. My trucks are in the area the next day or two. I was just curious who does your guys' home for the pest control. So that's gonna be another option for you. And when are you gonna use this one? Like a veteran maybe that's sold, when might you lead with this one instead of the other one? Kayla?
When you've noticed, like you've knocked on 5 doors in consecutive, they're like, oh yeah, I already have a company, get off the porch.
Right,
So when you've noticed that, it's like just assume that they have somebody. Because if you knock into 25 doors and 23 of them have a company, and then you hit the 2 that don't, they're like, no, and you're like, well, okay, so everybody else does, like you should too.
yep.
So it's good for both. I
Yep.
think.
So one thought with this, you can still obviously sell the account if you use the other pitch and then they say, oh, we have a service. We're gonna teach you how to like empathize and kind of backpedal and recover, and you can totally still sell it if you use the other one. But this one positions you really nicely if they probably have a service, because you're basically you look really credible, like, and you look like you know the area and you understand that they already have a service, yet you still knocked their door. Like you know that they're still qualified to potentially buy, if that makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah, just to add to that, I think a lot of times people that already have a company, they just say, oh, I already have a service, to disqualify themselves right off the bat.
right.
But if you can ask them right off the beginning, like, who do you have coming out for your pest control? Like, you're saying to them, hey, like, I still wanted to try to sell you, like, you were a qualified customer.
Yeah.
You're in
Let's-
control.
Like I came by because you have someone.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So a common response when they say we have Aptive or we have whoever, Terminex is, oh, that's why I'm here. Right, we'll teach you what to say next, but it puts you in
So
control.
I want to show this one. One last thing I wanted to share with this is sometimes they might say with this, we don't have anyone, and then great, that now you can roll right into the discount phrase. And then you might get, a positive outcome from that. So that's what I'm going to show real quick. We are going to teach switchovers really soon, but tonight we're going to just Austin in this role play as the customer is going to say he doesn't have someone, and then I'm going to roll right into the discount pitch. So you can kind of see how I use this inside a response, and then I roll into the other phrase and I try to get a how much from it. So I'll show now. Okay, knock off. Hey, Hey, how's it going?
Good, good.
Good. Hey, I'm just finishing up with Doug. He lives just next to you here.
Okay, yeah.
Have any of the neighbors told you about us or what we're doing out here?
I've heard about you guys, yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my trucks are gonna be here like the next day or two. I'm doing some pest control work. I was just curious who treats your home for the bugs.
We don't have anybody.
Okay, yeah. Well, I guess just so you do know, I do work for him now, just next to you. And my guys will be out here working. If I could fit you in, I would do it for very cheap.
Okay, how much does it run for?
Yeah, good question. What's the square footage of your home?
8,000.
Okay, any, yeah, Andrew,
Our company putting like company signs in people's yard to kind of market.
sometimes. Yeah, sometimes.
Usually the lawn services, but most pest companies.
Active does, there are some companies that do. And it's actually nice because you can, like, walking up. In fact, someone just asked, I think Michael, when we were practicing, you asked me this or something, but. That's actually nice, because obviously if you see like, hey, active service, this is home, like, you should always use this. This insider response, right? That would be super dumb of you to like ignore that they already have someone, because this is gonna give you a better shot if you have that intel, you know. But yeah, that's a great question. I'm looking for like webs on the home, you know, if they, I don't know, we can talk about that later, but.
Or if you come to a lot of houses and they're really, really clean and.
If it's really clean and. Or if they have like a sign out in front, then you basically know they have someone, so. Any other questions on this portion of it? So the last stretch tonight, I'm actually gonna pass over to Kayla. And she's going to, oh, I'm sorry, I have one last little part. So just to like, after that insider response, here's where the conversation can go. And we're not gonna get into this tonight, but I just wanted to introduce this to you. So once I do my initial approach and the insider response, they can ask how much. They can say, what are you treating for? They can say, I have a company, or they can give you another objection. I do it myself. I have, you know, I don't see bugs. We're gonna teach you next time how to navigate the conversation forward if they say one of these 4 things. So that's what next training is going to be about. Tonight, our last thing we're gonna be covering is if they give an objection. So again, Austin's thought was, if you want to sell a ton of accounts and get really good at sales, you need to get really comfortable with selling kind of the higher hanging fruit, like the tougher ones, right? That have concerns, or that aren't just like, please sign me up. We have ants everywhere. Like, most people will sell those accounts. We want to help you learn how to sell the kind of the tougher accounts, right? I don't have bugs. You know, those types of customers where you have to kind of work through some concerns. So Kayla's gonna teach objections and kind of help introduce you guys to the process that we use to help overcome
And just a plug
objections.
for the training library, we have a YouTube channel. We have some actual sales on there, and some of those are some of the tougher ones, so you can dive in and check that out if you want to go a little deeper on your own.
Cool. Okay, let's get it. Oh yeah, did you have a question?
Would there be any benefit to bringing up like the actual prices? When you're doing that approach and everything?
That is a really good question. Usually no, because you haven't built, and we're gonna get into that, but you haven't built like need or value yet in what you're doing. A lot of times people just think pest control, and they think, a lot of times people in some markets, they don't even know what that means. And so you need to explain to them like what they're getting for their money. Yeah, I mean, like sometimes you look at a car and, you know, if they just said the price, it's like, that seems like a lot of money, but then you find out it goes way fast and has way cool features, and then all of a sudden the price starts to become way more like, okay, that kind of makes more sense, right? So similar concept. Value needs to make sense, and then the price will make sense. So
like when you're bringing up like when you ask like clearly type of service by anyone else, but also like the bring any benefit to bring up the prices of like what they're paying right then.
that will come. Usually you're gonna get in the yard and you're gonna kind of like, you'll start to present, and some of that back and forth will definitely happen. I know right now it feels like you're talking at the customer a little bit, but there will definitely be some back and forth. where they'll show their cards, you'll show yours and kind of get into like comparing and contrasting services and stuff. So, and there's definitely an art to that, but early on, your goal it really is to like open them up and get them in the yard and start to have a chance to present, if that makes sense. So, okay, let's give it up for Kayla. Woo!
Hi, excited to be here. My legs are shaking. You can't see it. Good. So I'm talking about objections. Just a raise of hands, like when somebody says no, does that scare you? A little bit? Okay, good. You like objections then. So the idea of objections, it's inevitable and it gets you closer, one step closer to a yes. So if you're seeing right now, we're gonna disband that idea right now. That objections are bad, that if somebody says no initially, it's a knee-jerk reaction. And when I say knee-jerk reaction, it's that their initial response to you saying, I'm offering you something, the initial response is to say no. That will get you maybe 1 or 2 accounts a day, maybe 1 account a day. If you're just going to people, they're like, oh, cool, how much is that? Like, oh, I've been looking to switch my testing company. But if you're looking to sell high volume and like get into like being a high producer, you're gonna want to get to the people that are like, no, I'm not interested, I would never. So then at the end, they're like, thank you so very much for coming by, you know what I mean? So objections are very good. Please get out of your minds now that they're bad. Everybody on 3, objections are great. So stomach. Objections are great.
Objections are great.
Okay, awesome. So for returning reps, we have 3 steps to overcoming an objection. What are they? Number 1, empathize. Why is empathy good? Why do we like empathy?
It allows you to connect with them on their level and have a conversation.
Tell me a little bit more about that. Like, why would that be good for a customer?
Well, it allows you to emotionally connect with them and also allows them to trust you more because you kind of get to know each other on a certain level.
Love that. Like, it allows them to feel like you're hearing them.
If you forget empathy, which sometimes you will, it feels like you're like going for their throat.
It's argument.
I don't have bugs. You don't have bugs. Like it's like it becomes argumentative. It can create contention without it.
Totally.
Not quick way to lose. So
Empathy switches it from like you versus them to like you and them together fighting the problem.
Yeah.
So
The company against you and the customer. It's the bugs against you and the customer, or the lack thereof against, you know what I mean? So I like that. Anything else? I thought there was one more hand. Okay, so first one, 3 steps. First one, empathy. What's the second one? Second step. Okay, why do we tailor our responses?
Well, if they say they don't have bugs and you tell them like, no worries,
I trust you here.
yeah. But if you like go to like a switch over objection, like they're gonna just be confused and I mean, you have to tailor it to what they say because that's the only way you're gonna have power.
Absolutely. It makes you actually hear what they're saying. You're not just on robot mode. Somebody else? Tanner.
Parker always used the word logic for this, like you're giving them a piece of logic, like why, even though they just gave you the objection, would they change their mind and like be persuaded to do the opposite of what they just said they were gonna do. So your tailored response is providing logic that makes sense for them to switch their mind and be open-minded.
So from what I hear, it's like they're giving you the reason why they're not qualified, but in reality, you're gonna go, actually, that's exactly why you are qualified for a service. Tailoring your response allows them to see that like dynamic.
That's philosophy.
Anything you want to add?
I think, so the first step is empathy, and when you empathize, it like creates this trust. And it puts you in a spot where you can then, with the tailored response, kind of gain not just the trust, but almost the credibility. It like sets you up for that. So the tailored response is super important because they're not only just connecting with you they're now going to kind of be trusting you and like, oh, this person knows what they're talking about. And even if I don't think immediately this is what I need, they now look at you as someone that has knowledge and they can help you solve your problems.
Totally. All of a sudden now, like. You're helping them understand that you are educated on what you know.
Yeah, and to that point, like I had a physics teacher in high school that you would ask a question to, she'd say, what is the answer key say? You're like, well, I don't know, what do you have to say? Are you here?
You've got the education, I have no idea, so I'm.
Like when you're, when they can see into your mind, or when you can show that you're seeing within their mind a little bit, then that removes a barrier of uncertainty and chaos and brings order establishment.
I like that you said it brings down barriers with the correct empathy and tailored response. It breaks down walls. So that when you go for the close, it doesn't seem like you're cutthroat. Does that make sense?
And with all this too, it can turn a negative to a positive. And I think that's a lot of times where you said you can change someone, or Tanner said you can change someone's mind from like what the complete opposite of what they said is usually tailoring it to a way that's positive for them, which we'll teach you how to do, but.
I like that. Anything else? Okay, most important part of. No, they're actually really important. Empathy is really important. They need to feel heard. Like. If you're dating somebody or you have a spouse. And they go, like, I'm having a hard day, like you give them some crappy response. Oh, cool, like I'm just gonna go into my room, like I hope you. You know, like they're gonna be like, are you kidding? You didn't hear me? Same thing with a customer, right? Like. If you go to them and they go, I don't have bugs. Okay, no worries. Well, there's this huge discount. People are gonna, it's like, get off my front porch. I just told you that you don't have bugs. You know, so the idea with empathy is that it keeps them open and listening longer, it keeps them open-minded. Tailoring your response to make sure that they see what they gave you as a negative, that you turn that into a positive and you're giving them the credibility to work with. Third one, close. Tell me about, oh, I should have asked close. Why is closing important? Why is closing important?
It progresses itself.
Why would you want to progress yourself? I want money, I want money. So this is probably like, if you don't know how to close, you're gonna find yourself, this is your first summer. Like I remember my first summer, like I'd get into like these conversations with people and I'd be like, yeah, that's like, everybody out here has bugs, but they've been giving us a try. So it's been super cheap and people are giving us a try. Okay, thanks. Get off my front porch, you know, so if you're not closing and going, so if I can fit you in, it's half the normal price. Then it doesn't give them something, like people aren't just closing themselves, people aren't naturally inclined to closing themselves. That's what we need to be doing.
And I think it's important to note, like, closing almost 95% of the time is gonna sound like you're ending with a discount, kind of like with the initial approach. We can begin, it's gonna be super cheap, like you're always closing with a discount.
Especially on the front porch, huh?
Especially on the front porch, and whenever you're going through these objections, like 95% of the time, that's when it's gonna be. There's only a few variations where it won't be the discount that you're offering it to do that.
Definitely. I like that. Anything else about closing, why closing is important?
I think a lot of times closes too with that, Tanner, is asking a question. Like tonight, you're gonna learn a question that puts you in the driver's seat to move it to the next step. So closing is just a fancy way of getting them engaged again. And like you do these things and you ask a question that checks, okay, are you picking up what I'm putting down? Like, are you gonna move, are you gonna progress with me to you getting what you want and me getting what you want and keep both winning? And you know, so but yeah, it's a question a lot of times. That's
We talk about like first downs. I'm sure you're familiar with football, but like very rarely from one end zone to the other within one run are you gonna make touchdown. I don't know football, that wasn't hoping technology. Like from one end of the field to the other, like it's almost impossible to like throw it and like get it into the end zone and you know what I mean? I think that's how it works. In sales, if you like, you can't just expect one objection and then you're signing them up. I would expect multiple objections, but when you have one objection and you've overcome it and you get to the next one, think of it as perfect. Now that I'm closer to a yes. Awesome. Objection out of the way, I'm to the next yes. So the further you get along the sales process and the more objections you overcome, the closer you are to landing the, you know what I mean? Go to the next. So, not seeing bugs. Give me some reasons why people wouldn't see bugs.
They already have a company tree.
Okay, they already have a company trading. What if they don't have a company? Or they're, one more time? Exactly, not very many people are out. Watching, the side of like the foundation, that's just not what most people are doing. They're oblivious, they have no idea that they have bugs around their house. What's some other reasons why, if like they don't have if they don't have a company, why are other reasons they would have?
They're lying and just want you off the porch.
I like that one, tell me more about that.
I mean, there's just so many times when you'll talk to somebody like, yeah, I have nothing. Then you'll get in the backyard, and be like, yeah, I actually have ants crawling all the way in my kitchen, in my bathroom, they're in my bed.
They're on my
Help me.
lip last night. Whatever.
Yeah, and I was thinking about calling it company during the next couple days.
Yeah.
Right, you get that all the time.
Oh, that's.
So, we call these smoke screens. When somebody says, I'm not seeing bugs, it's a smoke screen. It's this idea that like they're putting up a wall because they don't want to tell you that they have an issue. So what this looks like, you're gonna empathize with them. You're gonna say, hey, no problem. A lot of your neighbors aren't seeing too much activity. But just so you know, so you're gonna go, I'm gonna empathize with you. Yeah, a lot of people actually in your neighborhood are not seeing bugs either. That's a secret. That's why I'm here. But transition to the next part, just so you know. Then you're getting the tailored response. A lot of people have been doing this preventative work. And since we're doing it for so cheap right now, it's been making sense. When's the last time you had your home treated professionally? So that's kind of like this idea, right? You're gonna go, not a lot of people here in your neighborhood actually have a lot of bugs either. That's exactly why they want us, because they never want bugs. They want to prevent bugs from entering their home. And because it's cheap, it makes sense to get this sort of thing done. When was the last time you had something done to your home professionally? Okay, let me ask, why would this be a really good soft close at the end of that? This little dialogue.
I love that question because it establishes that it's normal to get your home treated. Like everybody does it. It's just a thing that people do. If you're a good homeowner, you get your home treated. So it's just like assuming that they've done it in the past, even if they haven't.
So it's good maintenance. He's assuming that like, because they're a good homeowner, they're also gonna have this sort of thing done. It's just been a little bit of time. Why else do we ask this question when we are overcoming objections?
It gets yourself out of that smoke screen that they threw up right there and progresses on to something else.
Yeah, completely. You've dodged their negative in your head, you're entering into like continuing the conversation or like closing the conversation along. What's another reason why you'd like to ask this question?
All the info you can get from the customers can help you in the long run, so you can use it with them to create another tailored response and then close again.
Cool. I love this question because if somebody says it's been 10 years, you already know they're not bugs, you already know that they haven't done something like this. It just makes sense. So then if they go, when's the last time they treated your home? It's been like 10 years. Well, a lot of people in this area, it's been 5 to 10 years. And so they're giving us a try just because it's been a while. We can fit you in half a little price. So that's like that, right? So you've gone through, no, I don't see bugs, to when was the last time you had this done? 10 years ago. So they see the value in it. Okay, that's like you're grasping for more information. They see the value. And then it's just been a while, but everybody else is doing it. You're hopping on that bandwagon. Anyway, not seeing bugs. I really like that objection. But
Sorry, this is kind of a technical question.
maybe with it.
On the back slide, it says the home instead of your home. Is that a type of intentional language that might distance themselves from the issue? Like if they have bugs, it's not them who has bugs, it's the home that has bugs. Is that something that you kind of focus on in your approach? Distancing language appropriately, of course.
I switched between when was the last time the home was treated, when was the last time your home was treated?
When was the last time you were treated for bugs?
Dance bug and whatever.
Yeah, a lot of these words are intentional, but I don't think that was super intentional, but I like it. I like that thought. Honestly, I typed this out and not think that.
But it is how these guys say it. I've noticed. They always say it that way.
We don't
so.
say house. We don't say, when was the last time you had your
They
spray?
I think a lot of what they're teaching is subconscious, but if they're saying it, just do it that way. Because I promise you, like they sell 500 accounts.
Say this, okay, technical wise, if you run into a renter, we'll get into this, right? It's another objection of a renter. You're gonna want to qualify those people. But if they've been in the home 15 years, chances are, and they're the ones mowing the lawn, right? that they're the ones that would have to be in charge of the pest control. So instead of saying your home, I would say the home. When was the last time the home was treated? Rather, because it's the landlord's home, but, so I do use the home for renters, but your home for homeowners. Technical thing that I do.
Let's show it on the next slide. I want them to see your, like from the top and then, this is like all this stuff. I'm gonna take over but I want you to stay up because I want you to show this. So, this is just a review of everything that we, first of all, let's give it up for Kayla. That was. We're gonna have Kayla has been with us for a couple years. She's really gifted and we're gonna be having her and some other kind of senior leaders participate in these trainings this year, so. Probably tired of seeing me and Austin do a lot of these, so we're gonna mix it up.
I know I am.
Kayla, yeah. No. Sorry.
You teach it there.
You don't want that though.
Okay, I'm gonna review this and then I do want to have Kayla come up and demo it, so.
Notes
Dave-
break out and everybody practice.
Yeah. Name drop. Ask the question, get the customer engaged. You're gonna use one of these two insider responses. One last plug, or I guess thing I want to teach is like, stop talking here. You're gonna have a tendency to sell. I call it selling past the sale. Like, we just like to talk, and when we're uncomfortable with like putting someone on the hook, we'll like just talk past it, you know? So say this and down pitch, and you'll see how Kayla does that. And then just kind of nod your head, and that's why it's called insider responses. At some point here, you need to stop talking, because you want them to say how much, like you're trying to create a how much, but if you just keep talking and then ask some random weird question that where you lose control here, then you're doing yourself a disservice. Does that make sense? So that's a tendency most people have when they just learn this. So stick to this script and just stay really, really simple. When we break out tonight after this, and you're practicing for like 10 minutes, just stay really simple and to the script. And then with Kayla, I'm gonna give her an objection, and you're gonna see how she works through this empathy tailored response close. I know this can feel complicated and or whatever, but like it will feel really human the way that she does it. That's our whole goal, is that this feels super human. Like it feels not like we're like bulldozing people or making them feel like we're just like twisting their arm or, you know, making them feel uncomfortable. Like, we want this to feel super like I'm in your corner. Here's just some information that might change your mind. You know, and then here's a question that I'd like to ask you to see what you think about it, if that makes sense. So that's like our approach with objections, and it works. And I promise you, like, if you learn how to do that, you will sell a ton of accounts. So let's have Kayla come and show this, and then I might ask for some like awesome things that you noticed that she does. So look at what she does with all the communication filters, body language, all that stuff. And then we'll break out and practice. So. Hey, what's up?
Hi, how are you?
Good. How can I help you?
Yeah, real quick, I'm just finishing up some work over here in Jan.
Mhm.
Does anybody stop by with, you know,
What you got?
so when I have my technicians out here treating the homes the next day or two, is anybody? Sorry, say the roads that way. My trucks are in the area next day or two.
Okay.
If we can fit in, we can treat them for about half the normal price.
Okay, I think we're good. We don't have any bugs, so. Probably
Most,
pass.
Most people here in this area haven't seen too much bug activity. It's pretty early in the season.
Mhm.
But just something to think about, because it's so early in the season, we're going to do some preventative work.
Okay,
And so it's just made sense to do this now.
sure.
I'm curious, when was the last time you had your home treated freshly?
It's probably been a minute. I usually just kind of do some stuff, but what do you charge to do your thing?
Yeah, good question. What's the square footage on the home here?
2,000.
Okay, I just need to do a quick look around the outside of the home, and I can give you a free quote. Do you have a gate on the left or right?
There's a gate over here.
Okay, awesome. If you want to toss in some dudes, I'll meet you with that.
Okay, cool.
You've done that
So
before. a few
good,
times.
yeah, so comfortable and
Thousands of times.
yeah, that was awesome. Cool, what'd you got, maybe a couple awesome takeaways just that you observed with what she did? Yeah,
Her meta verbals are some of the best that I've seen.
Yeah.
It's exactly how she talks to anybody. So
Yeah.
it's very conversational.
I'm passionate about this because if you go to most of these types of trainings in our industry, it feels so like people talk weird, like why do they talk weird when they're pitching at someone's door? Like, be yourself, you know, like talk to people like you're talking to a friend, and your chances go way up selling accounts.
Kayla
So
does at the highest.
that
level.
felt super natural, right? Like it didn't feel weird. As far as the metaverbal piece, I love that thought.
Some of us will be weird as we're learning it,
Yeah.
but we can get there and you won't be as weird over time. So that's lots of practice.
Yeah, this is just kind of a little thing that I've never really thought about before, but she maintained eye contact with you the whole time through the objection. She didn't break eye contact, and it's super easy to do that
Yeah.
when somebody's telling you no. Like it's super easy to like look down or look away.
Yeah.
But it was like straight on the whole time, showing that like we're still having a conversation here, like this isn't the end. Like,
Yeah.
I just love that.
Yeah, eye contact is big. Love that. Maybe one or two more. Yeah, Rich.
Oh, her clothes were good, especially when she was like navigate and left and right.
Yeah, way good. Very good. My last question before we break is like, maybe a first year here, how did this feel uncomfortable? Like I told her no, and then she, like, just that process, like how did that look or feel outside in as someone that kind of seeing that for the first time? Like, did it feel like she was making me feel uncomfortable? Or just kind of like educating me? Like, what did that feel like?
The empathy was really believable. Like I really did feel like she was helping you down off of this place where you put yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see bugs. Like, you're just people are gonna say something to put themselves in a place of in a position of leverage there.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to be sold. And she just like comfortably, gently said, no, that's not true, right? But without making you feel bad. It was like, hey, that's fine. Everyone around here is just like you.
Yeah.
They don't see bugs either.
Yeah.
But they're still getting this, and here's why.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, fine. It was like a relief that now I could say yes because she gave me a reason to.
Yeah.
Not like we're arguing.
Yeah.
You know?
Very good.
And she empathized, she didn't validate. Like,
Mhm.
she didn't say like, oh, yeah, no one has bugs, cool, but it was like. She made him hear it and then, just really good.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, Becca.
And I also think like making you realize you haven't had your home treated in a while,
Yeah.
like made you want to buy it.
Yeah, that closes, again, this question is super intentional, and like, you can put yourself in a really strong position where you're assumptively like, when was the last time your home was treated? And subconsciously, they're like, oh, it's been 7 years, I'm a really bad homeowner. Tell me more. Like, yeah, there's an art to it, or like, there's a reason why some of the things that we ask, like, there's a reason why we ask them, and I love that. Like, I think that question served its purpose. It was really good. Cool. Yeah, that's it for tonight, but we want you guys to break off and do some practice. So if you have kind of a manager here that you're working with, if not, honestly, just find a couple of people, find someone that's done this before and have them be in your group, and then just practice this. And I'll keep this slide up so you can come and look at this or take a picture of it. And you can kind of spread throughout the room and go practice.
I posted a slide deck on Slack. So you can go to the last slide. So you want to-
Go ahead, no worries.
Thanks for being here. Practice for me. If you're a manager, stand up, hold your hand high. Oh, I guess we're all.
Just turn on the corner. Yeah. So we just finished up workout. I'll come over.
Really good.
Okay, we're good, guys?
I was kind of like figuring.
Go on.
Okay. So. I know right there. and I'm still- This one. I was so. You're like my favorite column. I'm gonna swap, but I want you to hold. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I know. But, I want you to do that again. Okay. And I want you with the next to never forget some form of, or just for future reference, or just so you're aware. But for now, just so you know, it's very common. And that puts you in the driver's seat, like, you're like. It helps you get paid for that. And then the logic here, walk me through the logic of the solar font. How does it make sense? One, I want you like. So like, I guess, what, read that. And then tell me what's the main logic. So, things that I say, like, I think the person is just maybe just the one, but, you know, you're missing out, and that's usually still comes to it. And then the next thing is like, the treatment, like, this isn't like, oh, like, you have any muscle or something, treat it.